Hi, Jade.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm great, thanks.
Great. Okay, so for those of you watching, Jade is going to be coming to Awaken the Goddess Festival this year. She's going to be giving a really amazing workshop. So, Jade, would you please introduce yourself and tell everyone what you do?
Okay, hi, I'm Jade, and I'm coming to Awaken the Goddess to give a workshop about the Jade Egg. So my background with the Jade Egg is I trained with Mantak Chia, who is probably one of the people responsible for making the Jade Egg really famous to Western people. And I teach it as part of a sexual alchemy practice, which involves clearing traumas out of our body and, in particular, out of our yonis, which unblocks us and then opens us up to increased sensitivity. And at the same time, allows us to start moving the energy in our body. Now, naturally, we should be having a lot of energy moving in our body, like in a state of health. Like, for example, children who run around with endless energy, their energy is just flowing. But we go through school, we sit on our bums for however many years. By the end of it, the energy is not flowing so great anymore, and then we start getting sick, we start getting tired. And it affects different people differently, but it's just this kind of slowing down and blocking of the energy. So for me, the Jade Egg, I suppose the number one is to clear traumas out of our yonis. Now, through the therapies I do and the teaching that I do, and also my own personal experience, I've come to the conclusion that the majority of our traumas we actually store in our yonis, and as well in other body parts, but especially in our yonis. And what this means is it means that our yonis go numb. Now, my personal experience when I started using the Jade Egg was I was anorgasmic. I'd been anorgasmic all my life. I didn't really even understand, couldn't get my head around what an orgasm was. I knew I was really missing out on something and I wanted it so badly, and eventually I ended up just almost by chance in this Jade Egg workshop where I learned to use a jade egg and to meditate into my yoni and to literally look into the different areas in my yoni. And as I started to do this practice, I started, emotions would come up, memories, traumas would come up. And then as I went into the trauma or the memory or the emotion, which is what I was taught to do, it was like these black gray clouds of smoke were just rising out of my body, and my yoni just started to become really, really incredibly sensitive. So before, I wasn't even aware that my yoni was numb because I didn't understand like what it could be like. And doing the practice, I mean, really for a couple of months, I went from being, stiff in my whole body, not having orgasms, enjoying sex and enjoying connection, but I was totally unable to masturbate until that point because it literally did nothing for me when I tried, and suddenly everything became really sensitive, really pleasurable. All this energy was moving in my body. These pains I'd been getting all over my back, my neck, everything just disappeared. And I started having just orgasms, and very, very easily orgasming from a very, very slight amount of touch as well. And it was really not a long time doing the practice that actually sort of changed this for me. And when I had this transformation, I realized, there's actually a lot of women that are going through life and they're not having orgasms. So the doctor might say to you, well, you never will have an orgasm. There's something, physiologically wrong with you or something like this. But I don't think this is the case. What I found out from my own experience was it's energy, it's stuck energy. And once we start moving the energy and being able to build the energy up, the orgasm happens, we feel much more full of energy, pains go away. And then also just the things we're trying to do in our life, the things we're trying to manifest, they become so much easier for us to do because somehow we're just in the right place. And when I made this discovery, I realized, in our society, we compartmentalize. Sex is about pleasure. It's in this little box over here. Well, if you can't enjoy sex, well, never mind, you know. But what I come to realize is being able to have orgasms, have sexual pleasure. It is so, so important to us as women, to men. It's important that they can also experience sexual pleasure, and that also sexual pleasure is much more than just something in your genitals. It's actually something in your whole body. So with the Jade Egg, I'm going to teach how to actually move that energy, use the Jade Egg to activate the energy and then move it through your whole body, which is an ancient Taoist practice, which was called called an immortality practice, because it actually literally makes you look younger, it makes you look better, it makes you shine. And so yeah, I just absolutely love the practice. And I was passionate about sharing this with other women, so I went to Thailand and I studied with Mantak Chia to become an instructor with Universal Healing Tao. And now I do that as well as being a body worker, and also doing yoni massage as well.
Wow, that just blows my mind. I was thinking, I wanted to interrupt you and say, holy smokes, Jade, that's amazing. Because, you know, the people that I've spoken to who don't know much about it, they think that, you know, a yoni egg, it helps with your pelvic floor, with strengthening your muscles, with making you a bit tighter. But it's not. It's clearly so much more than that.
Yeah. I mean, it does make your yoni tighter, yeah. I mean, but it is so much more. I mean, a lot of people think of it as a vaginal weightlifting tool. It is so much more than that, you know. And it's really like this energy that we have in our yonis, also the energy we have in our breasts. So it's like our feminine energy. And the number one cancers in women are basically pelvic cancers and breast cancers. And in men, it's the prostate cancer. And it's because all this sexual energy is kind of stagnating. It's getting stuck. We don't really know what to do with it. Often it just kind of turns into a source of frustration, which we're trying to just release, but then we're just losing energy. But there's really ways where you can learn to use this energy to raise it up your body. And just, it's like, you know, it's like you're pouring fertilizer onto a plant and you're just making yourself feel just amazing, full of energy, you know, looking much more vibrant. And I think it's a practice that it's just a win-win for everyone to do.
Yeah, amazing. So tell me how you started doing this work in the first place. So you went and studied with Mantak Chia, which I don't know if everyone knows about him, but pretty amazing, right? He's written quite a lot. I've read some of his stuff.
Well, yeah, Mantak Chia, he's a Taoist master, and he studied with 4 masters, and also he studied with Tibetan Buddhists, which is a kind of a form of Tantra. And he's ended up living in the USA and started teaching this stuff to American people, and people who were going to his courses were ending up, you know, had these chronic long-term incurable illnesses that were becoming just healed through them doing his practices, basically. But he, through what he knows about Western people and so on, you know, he came to the conclusion that it's very important that the consciousness of Western people is changed, and that the way to change people's consciousness is through awakening people to the understanding of the sexual spiritual connection. And what he teaches is basically, he teaches us how to use our sexual energy to literally make our lives better. You know, he teaches it to some of his clients are nuns, you know. He teaches them, if you're practicing celibacy, you raise the energy of the body into the heart, transform it into love, you know, because some nuns went to him because they were getting quite sexually frustrated and didn't know what to do with their energy. He teaches all sorts of people, you know, all over the world. He has a lot of very wealthy private clients, a lot of people who go to his classes, and he's just brought these practices, which until the 1980s to 1990s, these practices were very, very closely guarded secrets that none of us were supposed to find out about. But he's decided that that he thinks that is really going to help people. And I think it's helped a lot of people to heal from traumas. It's also helped a lot of people who were doing Tantra and then were having side effects because of getting sort of energy stuck in their heads, like Kundalini syndrome and so on. So what he teaches is literally a cure for sort of Kundalini syndrome as well. It's a way to heal from traumas. And as well as, that he teaches these amazing things. He's a really wonderful person with a great heart, and he's very intelligent and very funny, and he researches stuff really well, and he will connect with anybody. He'll talk to anybody, And so, I mean, what originally brought me to Taoism was I'm an acupuncturist. I'm a 5 elements acupuncturist. So I studied an ancient form of acupuncture, which is basically based on the Taoist theory of the 5 elements. So the idea that we have an element in each of our main 5 organs, and that each element and each organ is what produces our emotions. So on one level, yes, our emotions are in our brain. But for example, if you know an alcoholic and they get more and more damage their liver and they start getting angry, we all know love lives in our hearts. Fear, because of the kidneys, the adrenal glands, fear is in the kidneys, worry is in the stomach, sadness is in the lungs. So this is how we treat in 5 elements acupuncture. And then I found out about Mantak Chia's meditation and Qigong, which is the same thing, working with the energy in the same way and understanding, like, for example, a client might come to me and he's very angry, he's got some imbalance in his liver. I can use a certain needle. Maybe he'll keep coming back with the anger. Maybe it'll help him for a little while. But when you learn this meditation that Mantak Chia teaches, which is to do with the 5 elements and the 5 emotions, we can actually basically learn ourselves how to really understand what emotions we have and how to transform those emotions. And especially for women who can be a little ruled by emotions because of the slightly different way that our energetics are compared to men. And we know we're often can be put down by men who are saying, oh, you're emotional, do you just have your period or something like that, But when we learn to really understand our emotions, and I'm a true believer in embracing all emotions, whether it's sadness, anger, love, joy, whatever it is, we need to embrace these emotions because they all teach us something and they all have a power, So for example, anger, right? As women, we're very much shamed for expressing anger. But if you embrace your anger before it turns into rage, and you actually understand it's a message and it's telling you something, what I found is it actually turns into this beautiful expanding force inside you, which is like, in a way, it's kindness. It might be kindness to myself, it might be kindness to the person who's making me angry, but all these emotions, none of them need to be, put on a little garbage pile and ignored or whatever. These are all things, they're all useful to us, they all come to us for a reason. And when we learn really to how to use them, what happens is we're no longer controlled by them. And when we're not controlled by our emotions anymore, it's like, in some kind of way, we start to master our own universe around us, because suddenly it's not, oh, that person said that thing, you made me angry. Because something someone said to me one day is, nobody can make me angry unless I let them. And that's exactly it. I don't like feeling angry. I don't like feeling afraid. So why would I let someone else with their insecurities make me feel like this? And so I started off learning these practices, these what we call the basic inner alchemy practices. And then I started to learn sexual alchemy as well. And when I started learning the sexual alchemy, which includes the Jade Egg Practice, it was just the most mind-blowing thing that started happening to my body, that I just, I tell people about it and often people are like, really? And it's almost hard for them to kind of believe it or whatever, but it's just the changes in my body on so many levels. Now I look 10 or 15 years younger than I did when I started doing the practice. It's just, and I feel so much younger. I feel better. I feel like I'm ageless. I don't feel like I worry I'm going to be 50, I'm going to be 60, and then I'm gonna, because now I realize if I know what to do with my energy and I keep moving my energy, it doesn't stagnate. And you have some people in their 90 and they're still going for it, you know. And we can all be that person. We don't need to grow old and fall to pieces and end up at the doctors and be sick, you know, with a combination of diet, you know, exercise, and then with knowing how to basically cultivate and how to manage and move our own energy, we can stay really healthy into a ripe old age. And that's what we all should be doing.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Thank you so much, Jade, for taking the time to speak to me. I can already tell that your workshop is going to fill up really quickly. So yeah, thank you.
No problem. It's been a pleasure speaking with you.